Does David De Gea have a problem at Manchester United? Now don't get me wrong, David De Gea is a Manchester United legend. He has been at the club through some really tough years and, his performances alone have deserved so much more trophies than what he has had. In seasons like the 2017-18 one, the club would have been in a really, really bad place without him. He stuck by the team and produced one of the best ever goalkeeping seasons we've ever seen. The talent is there. David De Gea has been a wonderful goalkeeper, a wonderful shot stopper, a reflex save, who's brilliant in long-range 1-versus-1 situations. However, for a couple of years now, particularly this season under Erik ten Hag, the questions are developing. Is David De Gea right for the future? So that's what I want to discuss today. And kind of look at the evidence, put the numbers behind it, but also talk about, what you see with your eyes, the eye test. Let's discuss it. Because there are David De Gea fans in the Manchester United fan base, fans who want to keep David De Gea. And I get it. Club legend, done a brilliant job. There are also fans who say he's not really good enough for the future, he's not good enough with the ball at his feet, etc, etc. So what I want to do today is, like I said, put the stats behind it, kind of put my opinion behind it, and let's see, is David De Gea a problem, or is it actually kind of all being blown out of proportion? Let's have a look. Let's start with the positives. David De Gea, in terms of what he's very good at, he's a good reflex shot stopper, when these crosses come into the box and someone's headering the ball down. David De Gea is a brilliant goalkeeper. We saw it even in the FA Cup game the other day against Fulham. He makes a really good save at 1-0 to keep United in the tie in the FA Cup. We also saw it the other year, for example, that big save against Sevilla in the Champions League is one of the best saves I've ever seen. He is a good reflex goalkeeper. I also think he's pretty decent in long-range 1-versus-1s, because he isn't a goalkeeper which rushes too early, which therefore means that the striker doesn't have their mind made up for them. David De Gea keeps himself big and is really good in those situations. And like I said, there's no doubt he's been a good shot stopper for a lot of years. However, is he still a good shot stopper? That's the question, because I would argue there has been a decline. Like I was saying earlier, as we can see in his peak here, the 17-18 season, his save percentage was very, very high. Now, don't worry, we aren't just going to look at save percentage because it isn't the most in-depth stat when it comes to goalkeepers, because it doesn't take into consideration where these shots are coming from. We'll look at that in a minute. However, what we can see is that, the 15-16 season, 16-17 season, he was producing very well. The 17-18 season, he produced a ridiculously good season. Kind of came down a bit, then good again in 19-20. But kind of since then, it's not been too great, and his performances haven't been very good, and he has low shot-stopping percentages. The question is, what do the underlying numbers say? Because maybe Manchester United are just conceding better chances, so of course he's going to concede. Of course the save percentage is going to be lower. That might be the case. Let's have a look. Let's do this by using post-shot XG. Now, everyone knows what XG is by now. It's the expected goals when a shot is taken from a certain position. Post-shot XG takes into consideration where the shot goes in the net as well as the XG initially. So, if the post-shot XG is low, the goalkeeper should save it. If the post-shot XG is high, the goalkeeper is not likely to save it, So if it's right in the top corner, the post-shot XG would be a bit lower. So what we can see here is kind of the net average of Premier League goalkeepers so far this season. We can see Alisson at the top there, plus 10.2, which means with post-shot XG, he has saved 10 more goals than you would expect. If we now go down 25 places, we find David De Gea down the bottom there. And he's in the negatives. He has had a net negative shot-stopping record this season in the Premier League. So early on, it's not a good sign for David De Gea. I think what a lot of people would talk about with De Gea is in terms of what are his positives. Something that a lot of people would point to is his shot stopping. They'll say, yeah, maybe he can't pass, or maybe he's not great at claiming crosses, but he's a really good shot stopper. That doesn't appear to be the case anymore. And I know there are going to be United fans that really don't like this, but I just want to keep making it clear, De Gea is a legend at this club, and has been a wonderful player for so long. However, we can't ignore the facts that are in front of us. It's not great. If we kind of break it down into what goalkeepers, kind of a few different sections, you've got your shot stopping, you've got your sweeping, your defensive actions off your line, you've got are you dealing with crosses, and then your distribution. The one thing that people would say De Gea is really good at is his shot stopping. In the Premier League this season, he's kind of 26th best. In a 20-team league, it's not good enough for the goalkeeper of Manchester United at Old Trafford. It just isn't good enough. United have the best players in every position. Clearly, they don't have the best shot stopper with De Gea. But let's look if he makes up for it in other areas, because I think those other areas are where he really gets criticised. Let's look at, is that criticism really just, basically? So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it,
jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself.
So like I said, another kind of important job of goalkeeper is stopping the ball, kind of what is coming into the box, how he takes the pressure of his defenders. And, you know, what I mean by that is the ball is wide here. We're talking about shot stopping in this area earlier. But let's say the cross comes in from his left-hand side. It's about goalkeepers coming out, claiming the cross nice and high. What this does is it takes the pressure off the defenders. Especially when you've got players in the air. Lisandro Martinez, he's not the biggest, of course, we all know that. And even Rafael Varane isn't the most commanding centre-back in the world. What you need, therefore, is a goalkeeper which is going to come claim the ball, take the pressure off them. David De Gea doesn't do that. Certainly on the eye test he doesn't. There will be several situations where the ball will come into the box and De Gea just seems glued to his line, leaving the centre-backs to it. And as a result we even see Casemiro dropping in. But what this then does is leaves United light on the edge of the penalty area. So, the question is that just the eye test? Is that people being biased and kind of taking the opportunity to kind of diss De Gea? Or is it backed up by the numbers? Let's have a look. And to do that, of course, we are going to go to the FBref report where we're going to look at this. The percentage of crosses stopped per 90. Now, importantly, this is percentage rather than the number of crosses stopped, because the number of crosses stopped would change. It would be dependent on, you know, who you're playing for, because certain teams invite a lot more crosses into the box, so the numbers would be kind of adapted and altered. When we look at the percentage, though, it kind of eradicates that a little bit. We can see that David De Gea stops just 2.3% of crosses per 90 minutes, which ranks him in the second percentile. Now, for those of you that don't understand percentile ranking, what this means is that in Europe's top 5 leagues, 98% of goalkeepers have a higher cross-stop percentage than David De Gea. Again, it's a problem and it doesn't look good for David. Again, club legend, he's been good for so long, but you can't look past this. We see it on the pitch, we can see with our eyes that it doesn't look like it stops them, but maybe that's just an agenda. So let's look at the numbers. The numbers behind it tell us the exact same thing. That firstly, he is nowhere near as good at stopping shots as what he was before. In fact, he's the 26th best in the Premier League in this metric. In terms of coming and claiming crosses, he can't do it. It's not a good start. However, a goalkeeper's job isn't just that. Let's look at the other metrics as well, because I want to give David De Gea a chance. I'm really willing for him here, because, you know, he really stuck by United and helped United in some really horrid times. I know, yes, he tried to kind of force that move to Real Madrid, but when it didn't happen, he knuckled down, you know. And you can't deny that he was at this club in some really bad patches that would have been way worse without him. So I want to stick by him. So what we're going to do is now move on to the other two metrics. So we said about shot stopping, stopping crosses, actions off your line, which is what we call sweeping, and then your distribution. So the first two, shot stopping, not good. Not good at all. Kind of stopping and commanding your box, stopping crosses into the box, not good at all. So let's look at the other metrics and also the effect they have on the team. So the next thing I want to talk about is sweeping. High defensive actions, actions off your line where, let's say a ball is being played from deeper, in behind the defence into this sort of situation. Does the goalkeeper come out and deal with it? Now, I think this is a trait where we are really talking about, quote, modern day goalkeeper. Because the modern style in football, everyone plays a really high line. Which means if you play a high line, there's a lot of space in behind you. So you need a goalkeeper which is going to come off his line and cover some of that space. If you do that, your team can have a higher defence, which means a higher press, which means you win the ball back more, which means you have more possession. So again, something that we know which Ten Hag wants. That is a knock-on effect. That's what he wants in his team. Does David De Gea do it? Well, again, with the eye test, I think people would say probably not. I think this season, to give credit to him, he has improved in this area. There have been situations where we've seen him a little bit higher, we've seen him clearing balls in these areas, and a little bit higher as well. However, still when we're talking about the elite, comparing him to the top goalkeepers in the world, he still doesn't tick the boxes. And again, if we look at his FBref report, it's kind of backed up. Actions outside his penalty area per 90 minutes, 0.84. Again, only in the 25th percentile, which again means that in Europe's top 5 leagues, 75% of keepers do a better job of actions outside their penalty area. It's concerning. If we compare it to Alisson, let me just find the number here. Alisson, his defensive actions outside the penalty area per 90 minutes is 1.9. For a bit of context, that's the 95th percentile, which means only 5% are better than him, compared to 75% which are better than David De Gea. Again, United want to be up there with the likes of where City are at the moment, Arsenal are at the moment, where Liverpool have been in the past few years. You've got to have players who are similar in those positions. Alisson is about 70% higher than De Gea in terms of his percentile ranking. It's a problem. And then down here, the average distance of defensive actions. So that is how far off your line you are completing your defensive actions. 15.1 per 90 is his average distance, which ranks him in the 52nd percentile. So again, this is really sweeping up behind your defence. So again, 48% of goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues do rank better in this department. And again, one of those is Alisson, whose average distance is 19.7, the 97th percentile. It doesn't look good for De Gea. I'm trying to find the numbers, I'm trying to back him up, because I really want to look into this. Because a lot of people, myself included, have said that he isn't the modern day goalkeeper. But I really want to look into these numbers, find these different numbers behind it, break down the post shot XG. Are people kind of judging him harshly? They're just not. These are the numbers. These are David De Gea's numbers. This is fact. You can't argue with the facts. You can argue whether you think it's important or not, absolutely. But these are the facts. And so that's 3 out of 4 that he hasn't ticked the box in. And the last one's going to be passing. And I think we know the story here. David De Gea is not a good passing goalkeeper. Again, I think he has got better this season than what we've seen in the past. I think he's improved, so he deserves credit for that. For a slightly older player to kind of improve in this area, take on something new is good to see. He has been improving. However, you're not going to get to an elite level when you're already at that age. And the passes attempted, the average pass length, goal kicks, passes completed, passes attempted, pass completion percentage. None of these are good rankings. There's only 2 stats where he's above the 50% mark. 50% is half, which is obviously, the average goalkeeper in Europe's top 5 leagues. The bang average. He only ranks bang average in 2 things. Everything else, he is considerably lower. It's not great, and this has a knock-on effect on the team. That's the big problem. Goalkeepers, back in the day a little bit, used to be a bit more stop the ball going in the back of your net. These days, football is played from the back. And when you have 2 defenders who are pressed in situations like this, who don't trust that they can go back to their goalkeeper, you have a problem. If we look at Manchester City, they play out like this, and if someone wants to press them with a front 2, Ederson will go stand here and make it a back 3, and instantly you're playing through the press. Then Casemiro, or Rodri for them, can get the ball here. David De Gea doesn't do that. Not only does he not come out into these positions, you can see that physically the players don't want to pass to him. When De Gea gets the ball, his game plan is basically pass to Lisandro Martinez and hope that he can do something. Normally he can because he's very good, but David De Gea is just so flawed in possession. The amount of times, even at the weekend against Fulham, where there's a spare pass to the right hand side because the Fulham press wasn't very good, he could go out here to the right back, he just sends it long, and not even into a particularly good area. Again, if we go to the percentages, it just doesn't look great for David De Gea. I don't know what more I can say. I know a lot of people aren't going to watch this video, and a lot of people that do watch this video aren't going to like it, because there is that kind of De Gea fan base, people that really support De Gea, and absolutely that's right, you should support your players. I really respect it. However, what you have to put first is not David De Gea, you have to put first Manchester United, and what is best for the starting 11, what is best for the team, what is going to win this club trophies. Is it David De Gea? None of the numbers look good at all. They are all negative. They are all worse than the average, than below average. These are really bad numbers behind it. Now the problem is, some people kind of don't listen to stats because they say, well, what I'm seeing on the pitch is different. The problem is that isn't the case either. We've seen a lot of errors from De Gea over the past few seasons with his shot stopping. We can see his passes going into the stands, or, against Barcelona, for example. He's through balling strikers for the opposition. It's not good enough. He doesn't come and claim crosses. We see the pressure that Lisandro Martinez and Varane get put under. He doesn't do that, and he doesn't sweep high behind his team. We see how deep United's defensive line is a lot of the time because they know they can't push high. David De Gea doesn't tick the boxes that are needed, either on a piece of paper, statistically, or with your eyes watching it. He doesn't. He still has top saves in his locker. Don't get me wrong. We saw that, like I said, at the weekend against Fulham. A brilliant save. A brilliant save that genuinely not many goalkeepers in the league, in the world, can really produce. However, one elite save every 6 games doesn't make up for 6 games in a row where he makes errors on the ball, he doesn't take pressure off his defenders, he doesn't sweep up high behind the defensive line. You've got to look at the net negative of it, the net positive of it, and unfortunately for De Gea, it is a net negative. Even his shot stopping, which I'm saying is his good trait, is well below average. 26th in the Premier League. It's a 20-team league. All in all, I think you can see that I want David De Gea to be the goalkeeper for Manchester United. He's such a likeable character. He's been there for so long. And you do have kind of that, what's the word for it? loyalty to him a little bit. You kind of feel sorry for him a little bit. You want him to do well. However, you know, there's no room for sentiment in football. There really isn't. It's a business where you've got to get wins. And for Manchester United to increase their chances of winning games and titles and trophies, I'm not sure David De Gea is the goalkeeper. So to answer the question on the thumbnail and the title at the start of the video, yes, David De Gea has a problem. He quite simply, at the moment, is not the best option for Manchester United in goal, and I'm quite confident that by summer, United will be looking elsewhere. But, as always, we will have to wait and see. Erik ten Hag may disagree, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. I am ready for the comment section. There are going to be a lot of people disagreeing with it. Again, De Gea has been incredible in the past. One of the best goalkeepers we have ever seen. However, he isn't the shot stopper he once was, and the other departments haven't come to the level that they need to. Therefore, for me, he's not the right goalkeeper. Some of you will agree. If you do agree, let me know. Let's try not to offend each other and insult each other in the comments. Let's just keep it as a debate. All of that, though, get in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.